In April 2026, Anthropic, the same company that built Claude, quietly sounded one of the loudest alarms in tech history. Their newest AI system, called Claude Mythos, demonstrated something terrifying. It can now find and exploit software vulnerabilities better than 99% of human hackers on Earth. Read that again. The same AI that writes your emails can now break into your bank. Anthropic's response was not a press release. It was a $100 million emergency coalition. CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, all locked in a single defensive alliance called Project Glasswing. If you're watching this and thinking, this sounds like a movie, you're not wrong. Except it's real. It's happening right now, and Wall Street just figured out which 5 stocks are positioned to fight this war. I'm going to walk you through all 5. Here's what most retail investors are missing. The entire cybersecurity sector got crushed in the first quarter of 2026. CrowdStrike dropped from $400 to $300. SentinelOne hit a 52-week low at $12. Palo Alto fell. Zscaler fell. Cloudflare fell. Everyone assumed AI would replace cybersecurity companies. Microsoft Defender bundled into everything. Why pay for CrowdStrike when AI does it for free? Then Claude Mythos happened. And Jim Cramer said something on CNBC that flipped the entire narrative. He said, and I'm quoting, "AI isn't gobbling them, it's supporting them, because it creates so many new vulnerabilities that hackers can exploit." In other words, every advance in offensive AI creates exponential demand for defensive AI. The sector that everyone wrote off in March is now the most asymmetric trade in the market. Let me show you the 5 names. Number 1, CrowdStrike, ticker CRWD. If you've never heard of CrowdStrike, here's the simplest way to understand what they do. Imagine every laptop, every server, every cloud workload at companies like Goldman Sachs, Amazon, the US government. All of them have a tiny piece of software installed called Falcon. That software watches everything that happens on that device, 24 hours a day. The moment something suspicious moves, a strange file, a weird login, malware trying to install itself, Falcon catches it in real time and shuts it down. That's it. They are the digital immune system for the Fortune 500. Now here's why Project Glasswing matters for them. When Anthropic needed a partner to defend against AI-generated attacks, they didn't call Microsoft. They called CrowdStrike first. Because CrowdStrike already collects trillions of security events every day from millions of devices. That data is the training fuel for AI-powered defense. Nobody else has it at this scale. The CEO, George Kurtz, put it like this: "We are mission-critical infrastructure, securing AI across every layer from GPU to agent to prompt." You probably remember CrowdStrike for the wrong reason. In July 2024, they pushed a bad software update that crashed millions of computers worldwide. Biggest IT outage in history. The stock dropped 45%. 2 years later, it's not only recovered, it's at all-time highs. The catch: the stock is expensive. You're paying premium multiples for the most established player in the space. If you want safety, you pay for it. Number 2, SentinelOne, ticker simply S. SentinelOne does the same thing as CrowdStrike. They install software on company devices and stop attacks. But here's the difference, and it actually matters. CrowdStrike's approach is human-assisted. Their AI detects threats, but humans review and respond. SentinelOne built something called Purple AI. It's an autonomous security analyst. You can literally ask it questions in plain English like, "Show me every login from Russia in the last 24 hours." And it does the investigation by itself, with no human security expert needed. This is huge. Most mid-sized companies cannot afford a team of cybersecurity engineers. With Purple AI, one IT person at a 200-person company can run security operations that used to require a team of 10. Oppenheimer did channel checks with companies that use both products. The verdict? Purple AI is better than CrowdStrike's equivalent product, Charlotte AI. That's a stunning admission from an analyst firm, because nobody beats CrowdStrike on technology, except apparently SentinelOne did. So why is the stock down 83% from its highs? Because Wall Street has been worried that bigger players will crush them. They're a small fish in a market full of sharks. But here's the thing. If their tech really is best in class, they don't survive. They get acquired. Cisco, IBM, even Google could write the check tomorrow. You're not buying a company. You're buying a takeover lottery ticket with real revenue. Number 3, Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW. Here's how Palo Alto is different from the first two. CrowdStrike and SentinelOne focus on one thing: protecting devices. Palo Alto's strategy is the opposite. They sell you everything. Think of cybersecurity as a building. You need locks on the doors, cameras in the hallways, a guard at reception, fire alarms, and ID badges for every employee. Most companies buy each of those from a different vendor. That's a nightmare. 12 different security products, 12 different dashboards, 12 different bills, and they don't talk to each other. Palo Alto's pitch is, just buy everything from us. We'll give you the locks, the cameras, the guard, the alarms, and one single dashboard. They call this platformization. It's the Apple strategy applied to cybersecurity. This is why Palo Alto is winning right now. When companies face AI-generated attacks, the last thing they want is more vendors. They want one trusted partner who handles everything. CEO Nikesh Arora said it directly. Customers are keen to both modernize and normalize their cybersecurity stack. That word, normalize, is code for consolidate to one vendor. The risk. If you bet on Palo Alto, you're betting that one company can be excellent at everything. That's historically been a hard claim to defend. Some customers will always want best-of-breed solutions. But if the trend toward consolidation continues, Palo Alto eats the whole market. Number 4, Cloudflare, ticker NET. This one is going to sound different from the others because it is. Cloudflare doesn't make antivirus software. They run 20% of the entire internet. Every time you load a website, there's a good chance it goes through Cloudflare's network first. They're the toll booth on the highway of the internet. Now think about what's coming. Right now, when you visit a website, you're a human clicking buttons. Soon, hundreds of millions of AI agents will be doing the clicking, buying things on your behalf, booking flights, negotiating prices, sending emails. Whole industries of autonomous AI agents acting on behalf of humans. Here's the problem nobody is solving yet. How does a website know if an AI agent visiting it is legitimate, or if it's a malicious bot trying to drain a credit card? How do you authenticate something that isn't human? How do you stop AI agents from being hijacked? Cloudflare is racing to become the answer. They're building the identity layer for agentic AI. Just like Visa is the trust layer for credit cards, Cloudflare wants to be the trust layer for AI agents on the internet. This is the highest conviction long-term bet on this list. It's also the furthest from current revenue. If you believe agentic AI is the next platform shift, bigger than mobile, bigger than cloud, Cloudflare owns the infrastructure underneath it. If you don't believe that, skip this one. Number 5, Zscaler, ticker ZS. Quick history lesson, then I'll tell you why this matters now. For 30 years, corporate cybersecurity worked like a castle. Build a big wall around the company network. Everyone inside the wall is trusted. Everyone outside is blocked. This was called perimeter security. Then COVID happened. Everyone worked from home. The castle wall stopped working because the employees were now outside the wall trying to get in. The whole model broke. Zscaler had been screaming about this problem since 2008. They invented something called zero trust. The idea is brutal in its simplicity. Trust nobody. Not your employees, not their devices, not even the AI agents working for them. Every single request, every email, every file access, every login gets verified individually, every single time. In 2023, zero trust was a nice to have. After Claude Mythos, it's the only architecture that survives. Because when AI can impersonate humans, generate fake credentials, and trick people into clicking phishing links, you can't trust anyone by default anymore. Verification has to happen on every request. Zscaler is the company that built this architecture before anyone needed it. Now everyone needs it. The reason this stock is the cheapest in the list. Investors are worried that Microsoft and Palo Alto will copy Zero Trust and bundle it for free. That's a real risk. But Zscaler has the head start, and they're the only pure play. Before you go buying all five tomorrow, here's the reality check. Microsoft is the elephant nobody talks about. Their security business is now $37 billion in revenue, bigger than CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, and Zscaler combined. They bundle security into Microsoft 365 E5 for effectively free. That's a structural threat to every pure play on this list. Second, the sector has already rallied 20 to 30% from the March lows. You're not buying the absolute bottom. You're buying after Project Glasswing changed the narrative. Third, AI cybersecurity is still being figured out. We don't yet know which company's AI defense actually works against Claude Mythos-level attacks. The next 2 quarters of earnings will sort the winners from the losers. This is a high-conviction sector trade, not a guaranteed home run. So, 5 names. CrowdStrike for the leader, SentinelOne for the contrarian, Palo Alto for the consolidator, Cloudflare for the network bet, Zscaler for the value. Project Glasswing is the signal that Wall Street is reading. AI security is no longer a feature. It's an entire infrastructure category. Gartner projects $248 billion in cybersecurity spending this year, scaling to nearly $700 billion by 2034. If you found this useful and you want me to break down more AI infrastructure trades that Wall Street is sleeping on, hit subscribe. There are more videos coming on a topic that I think is even more explosive than cybersecurity, and you're going to want to be early on it. I'll see you in the next one.